The life force of your bond. A power like life itself. Unseen for generations. A dyad in the force.
Hi, I'm alone. So I'm starting this for now, waiting for Choco to fix his technical difficulties. So he'll be joining us as soon as he is ready. Welcome to DYAD in the Force, episode 241, the one about New York Comic Con and all of the things that were announced this past New York Comic Con, with all of the publishing initiatives, all of the new books, all of the new comics. And according to my setup, we should be good on both sides. On the TikTok side, on the YouTube side. Vid and audio are out of sync, but it might just be me. Oh, it looks like it is. 1 second. Is it better now? I don't know why this happens every once in a while, but it happens every once in a while. The audio should be good to go now. If there's anyone good to go now. If there's anyone on the TikTok side, let me know if it's good. And I'm seeing that it's good on the YouTube side. Out of sync on the TikTok side? Or are you just seeing an old? Because it might be delayed on the TikTok side. Thank you, Darth Angel, for tuning in and helping us troubleshoot the issues on the TikTok side. Shout out to Woodsy, shout out to Craig McGuinn, shout out to Goob. Shout out to Master James Kenobi, who said of the music that I'm using during this stream, that is the sound of 1,000 terrible things heading this way. And I suppose I should move this right there. That's better. So what's up, guys? Let's just hang out. Let's just talk. Let's just talk it out. You know, nothing needs to be weird. Nothing needs to be sus in any way. Shout out to Toll Score Enjoyer. What up, what up? As I said earlier, before we started, or at least as we started, and the audio was out of sync. Today's episode is about New York Comic Con and all of the announcements that came about this past New York Comic Con, with all the new books and comics that we got announced. So we will be talking about that. We're still waiting on Choco to make his presence known to us. So let's just hang out. Jay says, do you need a temporary co-host? I wouldn't mind either way. You can be a guest after Choco comes on as well, you know. I think you may have your own link, but if not, let me check. Yeah, you should have the link to just join directly. But yeah. Shout out to Spooky Kitty. Hello, friends. Hello. That awkward moment when you realize that New York Comic Con abbreviation can just easily stand for New York Comedy Club. Yeah, but at least in this context, in this group of people, we know what it sounds like. because we're not very good at being good at comedy, right? At least not me. Not at all. How long has it been since the last live stream where only Element was able to speak at any point of it? Wednesday. I streamed Wednesday. And it was just me kind of testing out my ability to stream. So that's when it last happened. And we do have a person.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. That's not how it's supposed to work.
So I'm so zoomed in. Yeah, I can't hear you at all. I can hear the music. I can't hear you, though.
Really? Oh, that's because I had to unplug and replug in to fix the
There you
audio
go.
desync. Hello, hello. How are you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm all right myself. Just waiting for Choco to make his presence known.
See, you said he's having technical difficulties? What are these technical difficulties? I thought he was, like, smart with this stuff.
So no, that was just me lying to everyone. He's actually in traffic.
Ah.
But I
He's
wanted
having
to...
technical difficulties with San Diego infrastructure.
Yeah, basically, technically. Again. That was just me trying to create a false false flag delay.
Gotcha.
I was trying to
the
stall.
new breed of grifting?
Not at all, unless people, start super chatting to see Choco, and I just keep on dangling that.
Ooh.
He's coming.
This could be a new tactic. I think you could implement.
Craig says, does Forward Into the Black have a backward out the white counterpart?
Not that I know of.
That would be clever. But it depends on what you mean by black. Is it black, the color black, or is it black, the darkness?
Okay, so let's just get this out of the way. The name is a reference to Elite Dangerous. It's a game where you fly spaceships, and you can explore, but in the game, and so the exploration aspect of Elite Dangerous is going forward into the black. It's been used in other sci-fi stuff, like something similar, but yes, it is going into the unknown and finding new things about yourself and everything around you, into the mysteries.
So would the inverse be reverse into the light or reverse into the known?
In Elite Dangerous, it would be stationary in the bubble.
I was trying to find contextually the inverse to forward rather than
I think staying in the light. I think it is the opposite. Staying in the light.
Just stand there.
Yeah.
So how's your week been? Anything
Work
new
has
happen?
It's just lots of work stuff that's been. Work has been kind of hellish. It's kind of that like end of season rush. But nothing too terrible. I think I'm severely lacking on Star Wars stuff right now, though. I haven't watched the Rebuild the Galaxy. I don't know if Vision Season 3 is out yet or not.
Not yet.
Okay. Cool. I will definitely be watching that. But yeah, I mean, just work. Currently working now still, technically, but whatever. It's a remote job.
That's good.
Do what I want. How about you?
Still doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
Still laid off, but dashing to survive.
Hey, you know what? If you make it work, you make it work.
And I like how, relatively speaking, I like the verb dash in general to just describe what I'm doing.
Yeah.
At any point.
Yeah.
You know, some people go to work. I got a dash.
Yeah. Is it? Do you ever feel like Rainbow Dash?
What do you mean?
My Little Pony.
I know nothing about My Little
I'm
Pony.
I'm not a brony, but you're saying I like the word dash, and I was like, is this a segue into finding out that Pep is a brony?
If I knew anything about My Little Pony, and I am in fact a fan of the verb dash, I could probably see myself as a fan of. What are you saying? A character? Is there a character named Rainbow Dash?
I believe the main character is named Rainbow Dash. I might be wrong on that, but I think Twilight Sparkle is Twilight or Twilight Sparkle is also a character, but I also believe Rainbow Dash is a character.
So you said Twilight or Sparkle.
Or Twilight Sparkle.
Or both.
it's either one character or two separate characters.
Gotcha. Well, now that we're live really quickly, I do want to switch the playlist because it does seem a little morbid.
Yes, all the My Little Ponies died.
How's that?
That's pretty chill. It's pretty chill.
I wanted to change it because I wanted to read what Spooky Kitty said. You could say you are a dashing guy.
Ooh.
I am dashing. I am currently dashing, and I do dash. So, right on all three fronts. Master James Kenobi says, into the unknown Elsa style. Into the unknown.
I've never seen Frozen.
Wait. Haley has, right?
I don't know. Probably.
If neither of you have, you both need to. And if Haley has, then she needs to bring you.
Maybe.
I'm not gonna say it's like it's a must, but they're good. They're good movies.
They're certainly popular.
I will say before any of those though, you need to watch Rebuild the Galaxy. Have you seen the first one? You just haven't seen
I like the first one a lot.
Okay.
I thought that was really good. I've seen bits and pieces like just through like social media. Like I know Cal Kestis and Revan are in the sequel. But no, like I thought the first Rebuild the Galaxy, because Rebuild the Galaxy and Skeleton Crew came out pretty close to each other, and they were both like surprisingly excellent pieces of media. I was like, oh, this will be fine, I'm sure. But I was like, oh wow, these are both incredibly. Oh, there, I see someone.
The correct quote was, "I see a black man."
I get in trouble if I did that.
Hi.
Hello. Man, it's been a hell of a day.
Well, we're done with the intro, so I might as well just jump into it. How you doing, Choco?
I'm living life, you know, doing my thing. Accident on the freeway made it a pain and a half to get home, and so that's fun. But my clothes did make it to that dry cleaner, so that's good.
Okay. In response to na Choco, I guess I'm gonna have to do it. Welcome.
Gonna be Choco.
Another happy landing.
Anyways, so this episode, of course, I was talking about is about New York Comic Con. Chase, have you been to? And did you go when you were back then, like living there?
I've never been to New York Comic Con.
Ooh. I feel like everyone goes every year.
I have been around New York Comic Con many, many, many times. I've done New York Comic Con after parties. Never been to New York Comic Con.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was a bit jealous, but like, I mean, we're pretty damn spoiled here, so
You have the Comic-Con.
I know, and so like, but we have a lot of friends and mutuals that are on the East Coast, and not everyone can cross coasts on a whim. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I will say that when I say that it seems like everybody goes, it's the usual suspects on the East Coast. So you're right.
It's just we love those people.
Yeah, and we want to hang out.
I want to see them.
Which brings us to we really need to start planning DYADCon 2. Because it's almost the end of the year and May is coming up, and I have a feeling we're gonna all want to bum rush a theater for Mandalorian and Grogu to see it together.
This is true.
Especially if it happens around May 4th.
It is coming out in the summertime, right?
It said it was going to come out in May, and it'd be irresponsible if they did May, but not May 4th. I don't know.
Yeah. Master James Kenobi says, my kids are listening to K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack right now. Well, tell them you are also listening to it.
My little soda pop, you're all I can think of. Every drop I drink up.
This is from K-pop Demon Hunters?
My little soda pop.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to be 100%. I thought this was just like a new BTS song.
I mean, BTS is K-pop.
Yeah, but I didn't know this was from K-pop Demon Hunters. I haven't seen it. I've heard really good things.
You should watch it, honestly.
Okay, I haven't watched it because in my brain, there is two things that should not be connecting a circuit, but they are. I just associate K-pop Demon Hunters as a full-length feature film for KDA, the League of Legends band. Like, that's what I think it is in my head. I know it's not, but I'm like, dude, I'm not going to see the fucking League of Legends movie. I'm sorry.
Honestly, now that you say that, that was actually one of the first things that popped up in my mind because I wasn't aware that it was coming out. Like, I think the week that it came out, and I saw it on my Netflix, I was like, what the hell is this? And then we did DYAD, and Choco was like, this thing has no business being that good. I was like, okay, I guess I gotta watch it. And then it started charting. It started charting and Billboard and Spotify. And
now I just want to shout out Kent Kari because of the big group chat that we still have from the last one. He posted in there, I just watched this thing, and I was like, the hell is that? That's weird. And so
what did he post?
I watched it with my wife. Oh no, this was when it very, very first came out. He was literally the first person I heard about K-pop Demon Hunters from because of that message that he had put in that group chat.
I'm gonna be straight up. I did not clock Kent Kari as a K-pop person.
But you probably clock him as a dad.
Yeah,
no.
But that's the thing is, you don't have to be a K-pop person to enjoy this movie. I would say, here's my statement. This is where I'm gonna plant my flag, and I'm gonna die on this hill. If you enjoyed Into the Spider-Verse, you'll probably enjoy K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay,
I did. As someone who doesn't actually like the MCU movies, or I don't have any affinity towards Spider-Man, I did enjoy Into the Spider-Verse. I thought it was very good.
It has, I mean, it's the same animation studio, but it's okay. Fun. It's some of the things that they do with the jokes are kind of over animated, but in a good way, you know. And you just enjoy the ride. And this one, they just happen to be hunting demons and using K-pop as a cover to do so. But yeah, that's where I'll put it.
All right.
I mean, honestly, I'll attest to that because I'm a Korea boo, and I'd say most of the K-pop scene actually didn't know that this was going to be huge. We weren't really following it, and that's because it was a Netflix release. But you know, there's Korean dramas on Netflix, but this is largely a Western production, right? So we're following everything that comes out of Korea. But like, As soon as it proliferated on Netflix, then the K-pop scene.
So this
went
wasn't
on.
like a Korean studio that made this?
No.
This is Sony Animation.
They have like Korean voice. I feel like they had Korean like voice
Korean
actors
Americans.
as idols, right? Oh, okay.
They had Twice do one of the songs, but EJ, Ray Ami, Audrey Nuna, they're all Korean American artists. Even the voice actors are all based out of the West, but they are Korean.
Why?
So why? Because it was
Wild. It's just none of this is what I was. Nothing you have said thus far is what I expected anything out of this.
Well, if Haley hasn't watched it either, then you guys are gonna have a blast watching it. Because I would
All
love
right.
to hear your guys' thoughts after the fact, because it is really, really good.
Yeah, I would definitely watch or join that couple's stream. Like, you guys watch it and then come on afterwards, and we want to hear you talk.
All right.
Cool. I would like that.
All right. We'll see.
Master James Kenobi says, my 3-year-old singing Golden is the cutest thing in the world. I mean, I hear it all the time, like from kids. It's crazy. Golden, free. This is what it sounds like. And there's no like.
I sent the song "Free" to my dad. He hasn't even seen it. He hadn't even seen the movie, and he added it to his playlist.
That's how good it is, honestly. Like, sometimes just things just come out of nowhere, you know? The usual suspects on the East Coast, but the harbor shootout in that movie happened on the West Coast.
I see what you're doing.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good joke.
That's
Yeah. Now, the title is also an idiom, so it doesn't have to refer to the movie. So, in that case, I'm using it to refer to the people that are usually on the East Coast. But how was your week, Choco?
It was great. You know, I just doing this new job. It takes a lot out of me, but you know, I'm feeling good. I actually really enjoy it. You know, I feel right.
Make one while you talk.
It's also nice to get, but it's really interesting when you step outside of like the online geek culture, because it's massive. It's gotten massive, but it still hasn't like proliferated like everywhere and to everyone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, there's people that I talk to that have watched things I would have never expected, like
Yeah.
a normie to have watched. I'm like, oh yeah, it's really good. I like my old roommate's girlfriend, like, would not have clocked any type of like nerd content. Seen every DC movie, seen every MCU movie, seen every show, and was like up on all of it. Didn't read like the comics or anything, but was just like, it's like, oh my, whoa, and she's like, yeah, like I am day one at all of those movies, and I was like, wow, okay, all right.
Yeah, and it's been interesting because like where I work, it's a wide variety of all cultures and age groups and races and all this stuff. And amongst them, even like amongst the many Star Wars culture there, it's funny because everyone hates the prequels still, and I forget that out in the world, that's still the thing. Like everyone loves the original trilogy the most, and then the sequel trilogy, and they don't like the prequels.
Yep.
And I'm again the outlier for not hating them. It's just funny how when you spend too much time online, but it's all a very specific like age group and demographic that has this there's like two separate ones with the same obsession, but yeah.
It's so funny you said that because at work we were doing an event out in Iowa, and we were staying in Omaha, which was right where Luke from the Podwans used to live, and we got dinner with him. Like me, my coworker got dinner with him and his then fiance, now wife, and we were just chatting at dinner, and somehow Star Wars got brought up. Naturally it felt like with us, and then my coworker was like, "Oh yeah, those prequels are so terrible. I can't believe people have I can't believe they haven't been pulled off of Disney Plus at this point. They're so bad." And I'm used to it because I talk to people all the time, outside of these spaces, and yeah, that is the sentiment. Is the prequels still suck to most people, and it's just Luke was like, "What? He doesn't like Revenge of the Sith?" And he's like, "Yeah, Revenge of the Sith is a terrible movie." And it's like, yeah, this is the general average consensus.
I think we can make the same conclusion off of our current bubble here, or at least our current Venn diagram of bubbles. Because we are surrounded constantly by either all Star Wars love, or we're inundated with all Star Wars hate. But you go to a celebration and you go to Galaxy's Edge and you just find yourself amongst people that aren't chronically online, and the conversations are just normal.
Yeah.
Well, my theory is that just globally, and this was really preempted by the pandemic, everyone's online selves and actual selves were two separate things, and they've slowly been merging over time, and there's just weird conflicts that happen with that, and I feel like that is the impetus of a lot of friction in society now.
Yep.
It's because people are bringing their 4chan thoughts to the real world, and you're like, you can't do that, that's not real.
You mean I can't just go out charging my laser out in public?
Yeah, I put on my wizard hat and coat and
SPC says, "Hey guys, just discovered you guys a few weeks back on TikTok. I love the positive vibes you guys deliver. Subscribed."
Hey, you appreciate it, SPC. Thanks for hanging out with us. And
you know me.
Actually, as someone who's new to the community, throw in the chat your top 3 favorite Star Wars projects, if you can, if you want to. I'm curious where you're at with some with these things.
Yeah,
projects, not movies.
Not movies, projects. So they can go, if they want to go Clone Wars, if they want to go Rebels, if they want to go the 5-issue Lando miniseries, which is very, very good. Yeah.
Also, if you're not already following our good friend to the channel, Chase, on the bottom here, @ForwardIntoTheBlack is their TikTok.
Appreciate it. I think mine is all still live action stuff. I think mine is A New Hope and/or Empire.
Is that A New Hope?
Just like a straight line.
Or Empire or
Yes.
Andor?
Oh no! Whenever I'm typing emails to people at work and I put in and/or, it's like I've sacrificed everything to type this email.
I also have to phonetically say what it actually means, because then I just say and or slash or, because slash means that too.
As someone that uses voice type too much, I get irritated because whenever I talk about Andor, I get and/or. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool. You're in a solid chronological line in this space, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I came to during the prequel era, the 2000s to the early 2010s, I was a staunch prequel defender, but I genuinely never saw myself watching those movies on repeat. It was always oh, I want to put something on, I don't know what to put on. It was A New Hope. It was Empire Strikes Back. I still love the prequels, but like I think as I got older, I was like, and I think it was after the sequel trilogy came out that I was like, I really do enjoy the sequel trilogy. I think I am forever just going to be an original trilogy person. Like, it's always going to be about Luke, Han, and Leia for me. Everything else is awesome and great. Supplemental material to the original trilogy.
I mean, you're not wrong about that.
I mean, it is still largely how I think of it too, and that's because I've just dug so deep into Legends, and so it's like that's prime, and then like you said, everything else is ancillary, and I like a lot of the ancillary stuff, like just as much, but it is still separate, and I view it all on the same plane, if that makes any sense. SBC Unlimited says number 1, Empire, number 2, Force Awakens, and number 3.
Hold on.
You're throwing me off.
It keeps on scrolling.
And number 3, Return of the Jedi. Okay.
I can respect it. I can respect it.
I mean, that I feel like that also means you're an original trilogy purist.
I was when this was a job or two ago, and I was talking to someone who like was a full-grown adult when the original Star Wars 1977 came out, and we were talking about it, and he was excited. Like, Book of Boba Fett was getting ready to come out, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm excited for that." And I was like, "Well, how do you feel about the sequel trilogy?" And he's like, so he said, "I'll tell you this, I hate the prequel trilogy. And the sequel trilogy are not my favorite movies, but they make me feel like I'm back in the originals again." And he said, "That's why I like them so much." He's like, he wasn't crazy about the Luke arc in Last Jedi, which fine, sure, but he also wasn't like bent out of shape about it. And he's like, it's not my favorite thing. Same thing as what they did to Han in Return of the Jedi. I wasn't crazy about it. But he's like, yeah, the fact that it was X-Wings and TIE Fighters, Rebels versus Stormtroopers, it was Star Wars again, and I was happy about it. And I was like, that's the most valid thing to say about it.
That's literally 100% what their goal was.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It was because of the reception of the prequels. It wasn't good.
No, it
and
wasn't.
I feel like a lot of people miss the purpose of the similarities between The Force Awakens and A New Hope, because I mean it's not the same movie. No. Like you have to ignore a lot of stuff to make that claim.
Similar, yeah.
But the derivation is on purpose, though.
Exactly. You are supposed to see 3 main characters emerge, but all of them are diametrically opposed to the ones that came before, right? Mm-hmm. Rey does not want to be a hero. She's not longing for adventure. She doesn't want to do all this stuff.
She's not ready to jump in the X-Wing and blow up the Death Star. That's not what she wants to do.
Exactly. Finn is someone who doesn't, but like Finn is the inverse of Leia, where he belongs to the enemy faction and he is not in on it. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to be part of it, but he doesn't want to fight. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the drive to fight this thing that's much bigger than him, right? Exact opposite. You have Poe, who's the stand-in for Han, and he is all ready to die for the cause, and like that's just the exact opposite. And that's why I feel Finn Poe probably should have been a thing, but that's a separate topic.
But just to kind of lend credence to like the conversation around it in like normal circles is, when you're online, you'll hear a lot about the sequels aren't canon to a certain side. Yeah. But like, you watch a whole bunch of videos where it's just like people having conversations about Star Wars. People would be playing games and they'll come across a category of villains and they'll name Snoke and they'll name Kylo Ren and they'll name all of this stuff as if it is inherently and automatically or axiomatically part of canon anyway, right? It doesn't matter what they feel about it, what they feel about the sequels. That's the reality that they've either accepted or have become a fan of. So it's part of the zeitgeist whether you like it or not. And I find that most of the time when I talk about somebody, or not about somebody, talk about the sequels with somebody, and I don't preface it by saying, how do you feel about the sequels? I'm just talking about what happened in them. The conversation's normal. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Let's see. I'm a Spooky Kitty said number 1, Mandalorian. Number 2, Empire. Number 3, Rogue One. All right. Real life greedy person. I got you.
This is true. Malik says top Star Wars, period. Last Jedi, Lost Stars, Rising Storm.
That is
It's a good
that
poll.
is factually accurate.
Is it though?
All 3 of those I love with my no, I just obviously, you know, your personal opinion is not going to be objectively, but all of those things are peak for whatever they are. You know what I mean? Like that's meta. Like those are all best in slot. You know what I mean?
Rising Storm was my least favorite of the adult trilogy in Phase 1.
Damn.
It's still one of my tops. But it was
really
dethroned by Fallen Star.
I love the first half of Light of the Jedi. I really didn't like Rising Storm all that much, but I love Fallen Star. I thought that was a great book.
High five.
Fallen Star is number. Actually, no. In Phase 1, Midnight Horizon might be my number 2. I don't like that book.
That's a good one. It's a good top one.
It's hard to explain because I love them. I probably like them both equally, just in different ways. Where Midnight Horizon was this weird creeping that took over my life, because I actually didn't like it at the beginning of the book.
Sorry, I'm like trigger happy with the soundboards now.
No, that was just such a good one that yeah, I'm actually planning to actually go back through, just start over and then go all the way through to the end so I can do it without breaks.
Right on.
I'm thinking about skipping Phase 2 and just going to Phase 3.
Ooh, do like a
Being a cheater.
original prequel sequel situation where you go straight to the end and then you go back to the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe that's how they set it up to begin with, because I think Phase 1 was the originals, and then Phase 2 is the prequels.
Yeah.
I do want to call into attention our poll on the YouTube side. Like the stream, and then think to yourself, is Choco a bad Mama Jamma? 92% voted yes, 8% voted no. Interesting. To
That
those
was
who
Craig. I know it.
to those who voted no on that one, feel free to leave your reasoning in the chat.
Or don't. That's cool. Either way.
Let's see.
Craig McGuinn says number 1, Revenge of the Sith. Number 2, Empire. Number 3, Rogue One. SBC Unleashed said, I always love talking Star Wars on my channel, so it's always cool to find others who actually talk positively about the franchise. And so, yeah, shout out to SBC Unleashed. I can't truly give an endorsement to their channel because I haven't seen it yet. But if they're one of us, then check them out. Give them, take a look, take a little peek over there.
We always assume the best, but if we find that you are in fact a carpet nugget, we will take you to task. Just kidding.
Innocent till proven guilty.
But yeah, I mean, it's like our community is not even about talking positively about the franchise. It's just being fans, like normal fans. And each one of us has nuanced opinions about any given project, right? So, like, we all have projects that we don't like, and that's a normal thing to do. but at the end of the day, we're not going to spend our life dogging on the thing that we don't like. And I want to so if you guys are familiar with RK Outpost,
Unfortunately.
he did another video reacting to Bryce Dallas Howard's comments on Ahsoka 2. Chiefly talking about the romance part. And he was complaining that Sabine and Ezra were strongly hinted at with the romance and that she shouldn't be with Shin Hati. And I had to just... I wasn't commenting on the video. I was commenting on our good friend of the channel, Eric Debunks' video on it, and I was like, she had a relationship with Ketsu Onyo, and so at least that much of her sexuality is confirmed. So you can't really go into this being like, well, canon suggests she's hard straight, and I'm like, no.
I just did you watch Rebels?
Nah, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just this sounds like, yeah, it just sounds like. I mean, I know who RK Outpost is. It sounds exactly what something like RK Outpost would say, but it's just like, even if you're not into Star Wars in like any serious capacity, if you watch Rebels, you would understand like Sabine and Ezra do have a relationship, and it's more like siblings. It's very much Kanan and Hera are mom and dad. Sabine and Ezra are the kids, and Chopper's the dog.
If we're being completely honest, of course, the beginning of Rebels, if you dive right in, you see all of Ezra trying to spit Riz on Sabine all day, but then like that's what happens when characters develop. Like they kind of
it's like
change.
But who wouldn't? I mean, just imagine though, like you know what Sabine looks like. And if you saw that person in real life, you wouldn't assume they were straight. I'm just saying.
I mean, if you saw Natasha in real life,
Slow down, baby.
also Choco's camera froze, but fortunately on a very very flattering frame.
Flattering? I don't know.
You're just smiling.
I look
a
like
little
some
bit.
type of. I guess that's what I look like all the time.
Let me see if I could fix you. And I'm not talking about Coldplay.
That is a band I've never been able to get into except for the opening riff of Clocks. That is the one good thing I can say about Coldplay is I think Clocks has a banger of an opening riff.
I can't seem to fix you, so I mean, like, if you want to come back,
no, I'm a do it.
you go. Okay. I mean, okay. I was like, what is he doing? Anyways, in reference to RK Outpost, I feel like they lose the plot very easily. It slides off of their forehead, their 5 head. So it's very easy for them to just say some dumb shit. I'll say that.
Yeah. He's had I mean, I feel like even in the grifter verse, he's not the most popular because he definitely goes overboard. I think even for a lot of grifters, we're just like, ooh, kind of want a distance. I have always looked at RK Outpost as like the Nick Fuentes of like media grifters, if that makes sense.
Yeah. He goes too far. I remember that one point in history when they were all kind of like arguing about what they do. And then they all kind of dogged on him for being like obsessed with Brie Larson. He's like, I don't really do that much, and they're like, Brie Larson. It's like,
yeah. I mean, not to just get on to like grifters in general. Like, I think that more people are becoming more and more aware of that type of media coverage or type of content. And I think that even some of them are kind of coming around to it of like, I remember a clip and it was like Geeks and Gamers or Critical Drinker or something like that, where it was like, is like, oh, come on guys. Like, we blow things out of proportion because it's fun and it's reactionary. And, they're not like trying to like come clean.
Yeah,
about
that
it all.
was
It's
the
like,
one.
yeah. And he was like, yeah, dude, like we do this for fun. Like we do this like because it's a good laugh a lot of the time. It's like, and then people are like, oh no, it's like, no, come on guys. Like,
Yeah, he was like drinking his own Kool-Aid. He's like, what are you talking about? What we say is real. I'm a Spooky Kitty says, for me, I remember them fondly, and I watched them as an adult, and the cracks were a little more obvious, but still a part of my childhood, so I'll always love it. I assume that's in relation to like a trilogy. Because that
Prequels?
sentence can apply to anything.
prequels, maybe is what it sounds like.
Spooky is pretty young.
Okay.
Let's see. Harrison James said Andor, Clone Wars, and Rouge One. Respectable choices. Rogue One has climbed considerably thanks to Andor, at least for me. Malik says honorable mention Rebels. I'm gonna move fast from this because we are behind on the chat, guys. So don't be offended if I gloss over your message. Master James Kenobi says Kenobi novel, Last Jedi, and Temptation of the Force as top 3 Star Wars projects. Got it. Shout out to Sana, who's giving us massive boost in likes. Appreciate you on TikTok. Let's see. As I said before, Choco is more of a Papa Japa than a Mama Jamma. So that doesn't exist. A Mama Jamma is a spicy sandwich. So there's no, it's not gendered in any way. So Choco can be a Mama Jamma. Let's see here. Harrison says, and romance can be used in other contexts than a character's relationships too, like as an adjective. Yes. As a more sweeping kind of descriptor for a romance between 3 kingdoms. An idealistic epic. Which is what that word is used for when it says Romance of the 3 Kingdoms. I just asked my 7-year-old, what is Ezra and Sabine's relationship? And he said brother and sister. And Hera and Kanan is their mom and dad. Rebels was his intro to Star Wars. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. I think that's one of my... Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of my favorite things about this modern era of Star Wars is that I have met so many people that have such a different introduction into Star Wars.
Yeah. I like to listen to those opinions too, especially with kids or younger people who are relatively, and I say that with emphasis, relatively shielded from the chuds, depending on their online habits. And they often have some of the most profound and innocent takes in all of Star Wars. Yeah. So good on the kids. I just love seeing kids at Galaxy's Edge run up to all of the characters that they love and just hug them or vie for a picture or something. And it's there's absolutely zero prejudice happening. They just see the characters from the world that they love. And that's what happens, Choco's here, finally. Finally. Are you here?
Am I?
You are. You're also further away. I think. Did you take that time to move your camera back?
I did not.
Does that mean you're just not zoomed in?
No, this is a different camera.
Oh, it looks strangely of equivalent quality. Interesting. Do you have blue switches?
Brown.
They seem pretty squishy, at least from what I hear.
This is a DOS keyboard. This is old school like premium mechanical keyboard.
You know what? It was fun. Like to me, it sounded like that the old Mac, like the brick, the fat one.
Yep.
Is that what it's like modeled after?
It's similar. It actually has like a pretty similar shape to it. It's this was a company that like before RGB was like a big thing. Their claim to fame was keycaps that had the printing on the bottom side of the key cap and not on the top. So it was a plain black slate, like no lighting, no nothing. But this was like back when mechanical keyboards were really rare and not super common. Like the premium keyboards were like the Logitech G15 with the screen on it. And I was like, oh yeah, true typists know that mechanical's the best. Where it was you were either forking out for a used Model M or you got a DOS keyboard. And I've always wanted one, and I found one at Micro Center in Brooklyn a couple of years ago. And I was like, yes.
I have a clicky-clacky.
I've always done blues. I did greens for a while, and those are like really heavy blues, but browns are, I kind of like them because they don't actually click, but they have an actuation point. Like there is a tab that compresses on it.
Yeah.
I have an Aula F99. I forget what kind of switches they are, but they sound like.
Oh yeah, that's that new age stuff. I had a Model M at one point, and I sent it to Linus Tech Tips back in the day.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know Luke from Linus Tech Tips, but like, there was a thread on their forum about it, and I was like, Luke was in there, and he's like, oh yeah, I've always wanted one. And I was like, dude, I have one collecting dust. Like, it's more of a pain in the ass to use on a modern computer than most people think it is. If you want it, I'll send it to you. And he was like, yeah. And they used it in one of their videos. So that was cool. But yeah, Luke from Linus Tech Tips has my keyboard now.
That's cool. I just like, though, I mean, like, I've never been following the keyboard scene very closely. But, like, I don't know, YouTube has some sort of ESP because it served me one video one day, and I was like, I like how that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's very creamy.
What people call it creamy now is like
Yeah.
the thing. It's creamy keyboards. I guess because it sounds like cottage cheese being mixed together. Is that why?
Well, it's not the creamy part that I like. I like just the clacky nature of it.
It's a
Because my previous keyboard, which was a HyperX, also had blues on it, and it sounded similar to the squishiness of yours.
Yeah.
And I just like
Blue-
the finality of the sound this one has, where it just doesn't have like a lingering after sound. It just clacks, and then that's it.
For me, it's just all about the thock. You know what I mean? It's all about the thock.
Yeah. Yeah, I like.
Yeah. Which one is that again?
I got the Ipo Maker, it's a RT100. I was actually close to getting the one you got, so that's why it surprised me to hear you say that, because that was literally my runner-up. That's funny.
Let's see here. Ezra is his favorite, and he loved seeing him and Ahsoka finally return. I love Star Wars fans that are kids. Like, as I was telling Chase when Choco wasn't here, they have the most innocent and profound takes in Star Wars that just, like, is not bogged down by bias of internet culture.
Yeah.
It's like they see Nubs and you're like, that's a cute boy, and they love Nubs. Like, there's no if, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, my niece is 2 years old, and I put on Young Jedi Adventures for her. Instantly into it. Like,
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
I wonder how
And that's
long
how you
it
know
will
it's
be.
good. It's like, if you don't poison the well, people love it. Like, that's just what it is.
I wonder how long it will be until Disney theme parks have Tales of the Jedi era Dooku cosplayers among their character ranks. I'm pretty sure they're out there somewhere now. Unless you're talking about casts. Has Galaxy's Edge seen Dooku's in the cast?
No, I think for Star Wars Night they just go with the main trio and then like your Boba Fett's.
Yeah.
Main trios like Luke, Han, Leia, Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan, and then
Rey, Finn, and Poe.
Rey, Finn, and Poe with Kylo.
And Chewie.
And like Darth Vader will be there.
Chewie just works with everyone.
Yeah, Chewie's in all.
I've been around.
Be there. And like they have R2 will be there. You know, you can take pictures with R2. It's just like I think that what a lot of people kind of like going back to the whole thing of like, you know, more casual fans is most fans don't know who Dooku is. Like if you showed them a photo of Count Dooku, they're like, I know he's in a movie. And if they saw him at Galaxy's Edge, they wouldn't know who it is. Like your average person that's going to Disneyland is not just going for Galaxy's Edge. They're going because it's Disneyland and it's cool that Galaxy's Edge is there. So they want recognizable people, which is like, I know people like dog on it, but like Rey is the most recent recognizable main character. That's why she's there. Like when you took your kids to the last time to see Star Wars in the theater, they saw Rey. That's who they want to see.
Well, I mean,
and we didn't have Galaxy's Edge back then, so you wouldn't go there to see Anakin.
Well, yeah, she's just a great character. But like, also you have to remember that the vast majority of Star Wars fans don't watch the animated stuff. The animated stuff is not as popular as the live action stuff, and so if you don't watch that stuff, and that's actually been a problem with things in the films, right? People watched Solo, and then they saw Maul at the end, and they're like, "The hell?
Yeah.
Why is he like?" That was a real conversation that happened a lot because you're not going to see Dooku there because, I mean, Count Dooku is not. He's not a major. I wouldn't say he's a major character.
No.
In the films, he's like the mustache twirling villain that gets eliminated. So
yeah. And it's like I remember this pretty distinctly, like when Mando season 2 came out, and like Ahsoka, you know, that's a majority of Star Wars, viewers' introduction to Ahsoka was The Mandalorian, and like my dad asked me, I was like, so Ahsoka seems like she's got history with people. Is she from something? And I was like, oh yeah, she's Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader's Padawan, and he's like, oh wow. I don't remember her. I'm going to have to rewatch the prequels and see where she's at. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And then and then you see her in the classroom with Yoda. It's like, oh, is that her? Yeah. And then, and that's why I said, like, when people got upset about, like, oh, they didn't say Satine when Bo-Katan was on screen, I was like, Satine will never make it into live action because
she cannot. Will. Shut your face. She will.
No.
At some point.
You cannot take millions upon millions of Star Wars fans and go, oh yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Sir Alec Guinness had a girlfriend this whole time. Sorry, we didn't tell you. You can't do that.
You don't have to say it in that context. I mean, Bo-Katan is of the similar ilk, and she just showed up in one of the Mandalorian episodes.
But she doesn't have a connection to the other main cast members from the original trilogy.
I mean,
she doesn't. She wasn't doing any of the characters.
She does. So Satine doesn't have to either. When Bo-Katan is showing Din the living waters and reading the plaque and telling her about
Corky Kenobi is real,
telling Din about her childhood and being raised and mentions her father and stuff. She could have just said, I had a sister, it's not, you don't have to. I agree that we might not even get any Satine in the context that we get a flashback with Satine and Obi-Wan and like that, but like you can mention her in the same way you can mention Padme without saying your mother. You have your mother's traits.
But there's also another division in the Star Wars fandom of people who want the details, they want the information, they want this lore, and then there's also people who just want to watch the thing and learn everything via osmosis. Like, just the thought is in your head and you run with that. And so that's why, like, I want them to mention Satine, especially in those scenes. But the average person is going to be like, okay, well, she's some sort of Mandalorian princess, so her dad was probably important or whatever, and they just fill in their own backstory. I'm like, just mention Satine, but then it's like, yeah, I had an older sister, and then she used to rule Mandalore, but it was a different society, and we turned our back on the violent culture, and we were a peaceful, neutral nation, and then I staged a coup with some other people, got her killed, and then I staged another coup for the person that replaced her for my current coup, and I blamed Obi-Wan for not wanting to join my second coup.
I mean, that's kind of a false dilemma, though. Like, that's not the only way you can mention her.
No, I know, and I think that they could have just tossed out a mention, but I get why they didn't. Is what I'm trying to say. There's I want it all, but I understand why you would say, let's not open up that rabbit hole for now.
I don't blame people for wanting it, and this is no disrespect to Satine or people who like Satine. I think people think that Satine is a bigger, more important character than she actually is. Like, I think there are elements of her story that really benefit and boost Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, but largely I don't find her to be so important. Like, this is, like, I view trying to get Satine mentioned in some type of media the same as, like, Barasafi. Is it's like, cool character, well written, just not super important in like the large scheme of Star Wars. Like, I wouldn't
she
argue
still
that
can't pin Shaclap.
I mean, I wouldn't argue that Satine is a large figure, but I'll always argue that within the context of Mandalore, she is. So, like, when it comes to, you know, Bo-Katan talking about the history of her family, that's when I'm like, she could have had a mention there. You know, when she's
she could have.
And when she's talking about, like, the history of how it fell and stuff, she could have mentioned her there too. In any other instance, I wouldn't think that it narratively makes sense to mention Satine at all. So it's the same with Maul. It's like, I don't want to hear about Maul unless we're dealing with the Shadow Collective or, you know, anything that has to do with him hunting down Obi-Wan.
Hey man, somehow Maul returned.
Somehow at some point, you know. But I also understand with fans like my brother who doesn't, you know, venture into the ancillary stuff either. Even if that information presents itself, he doesn't pay attention to it. He like, just like we keep on saying with all of these, with all of our arguments about having this information does not keep you, or not having this information doesn't keep you from understanding the plot. So when he watched Ahsoka, he had some questions for me, and I was like, yeah, but he still loved the show because he understood the story that they were telling, and that there was some ancillary information you can get from Ahsoka for Sabine.
No, that's a
and
plot
Ezra.
hole.
Exactly. Like, they keep on saying it's a plot hole, but, like, this information is great to have. It's there for you to seek out, but it does not detract from the plot of the show that you're watching.
Yeah, my dad and my sister both watched Ahsoka, and they both really liked it. And they were like, they said, like, I feel like all of these characters are from something else. And I was like, they very much are. And they're like, okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. And they're like, but no, this was great. They loved Ahsoka. Like, they had a really good time with the show. I think that the people who say it's Rebels season 5 are coming from the guise of, you did watch Rebels seasons 1 through 4, and that's why you feel like it's Rebels season 5. And it's like, it's very much not. It's very much not Rebels season 5.
It does not continue the narrative. They aren't
No.
even rebels. It doesn't follow the
No.
rebels crew.
No.
Ahsoka's in like 6 episodes.
Hera's in like 2.5. Sabine is, missing for some episodes. Like, it's
And the story we're continuing is something that happened post Rebels. It's of her
Yes.
training to be a Jedi. Yeah.
it's very much, it's more of a continuation of like that Mandalorian plot line than it is the Rebels plot line. Like it's dealing very much with oh gosh, I can't remember her name. I feel bad.
Who?
Shin?
Morgan Elsbeth.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like Morgan Elsbeth is more of a primary target in this show than Thrawn, really. I mean, Thrawn becomes like kind of the arch villain of Ahsoka at the end, but it's very much them chasing Morgan Elsbeth across the galaxy and then to a different galaxy. So yeah, I think it's very much people who loved Rebels or liked Rebels and were very much in tune with what was going on with Rebels. They're like, oh, it's season 5, and it's just like,
The only time something like that makes sense is Mandalorian 2.5. Because if you hadn't watched Mandalorian and you're watching Book of Boba Fett and there's 2 episodes of some rando that you don't know about, and you're like, who the hell is this? Why am I watching 2 episodes of this guy? I'm like watching Boba Fett's show.
I have never liked the Mandalorian 2.5 thing with Book of Boba Fett, because this is very much like, if you watch those episodes, I forget, I might be getting the numbers wrong. If you watch episode 4 as it goes into 5 and 6, the end of episode 4 is very much leading on like, there is someone else that we need to call on. And then the next episode goes directly into the person that they're going to call on. And it's their story. And it's like, I've always said that, like, if you've ever read a book in your life, you know that it sometimes doesn't follow the main character in every chapter. Sometimes you get a chapter 3/4 of the way through the book that follows a different character to get their perspective. And Book of Boba Fett very much does that. I think that I have always stated that if that show were called The Mandalorian: The Book of Boba Fett, no one would have even made a peep about those episodes. But I think that those episodes are fine. I don't think that they necessarily... I think that show is still a standalone show that happens to include another character who is of the same ilk of Boba Fett and makes total sense.
So I'm going to have to push back a little bit, because books that do that have already established themselves to do that. Now, I can understand if Din shows up in this show and introduces himself to and comes into the aid of Boba Fett, and he's just like arriving to help. You can make the mental calculus that, oh, he's someone that Boba Fett knows, there's some history there, he's showing up to help. But like, watching that show without knowledge of them and then having 2 full episodes about them is less about a chapter, it's less about a book that is, dovetailing into different perspectives, and more of just like a tonal shift entirely for 2 episodes. You know what I mean?
So this is where the dyad may have to diverge, because even coming into it, I was very aware that both The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett named their episode chapters. So I thought of the Book of Boba Fett not as its own show, but the next chapter in the Book of Filoni. I guess you would say the Filoniverse book. And so that's just kind of how I saw it, where if you read, this book, which would have been Mandalorian season 1, there was the footsteps in the desert in that episode, and you read the next one, and then Boba Fett returns, and then the next book is about Boba Fett and Amanda. You know what I mean? Like, I was viewing that chronologically as a book, but I'm also very aware that it just doesn't seem like the release schedule ended up being what they initially desired it to be. You know what I mean? I feel like like Rangers of the New Republic was supposed to be somewhere in there as well, and like stuff got out of order, so I don't think they got to tell the story exactly how they wanted to tell it.
Was there a strike in between?
Not during Book of Boba Fett. The last strike was for Ahsoka. But there was I mean, again, Ranger of the New Republic got axed, and there's the COVID stuff. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. But no, I think largely, even when that show is coming out, and I've rewatched Book of Boba Fett a couple times now. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite show, but it's definitely up there, and like, 'cause I do enjoy it. I think it's, before Skeleton Crew came out, I always viewed as Book of Boba Fett as the most fun Star Wars show that existed. And I do enjoy those two episodes. And I've also looked at it, and I remember talking to someone at work about it that was not a big Star Wars fan. And they really liked The Mandalorian. And they said something that was really interesting to me. And I've heard other people say similar things. It was like, they said, I'm surprised it took them so long to bring Mando into this show. They were like, we were on the edge of our seats waiting for him to show up. And it took like 4 or 5 episodes for him to even be there. And it's like, oh, and then he gets his own episode, and then the following episode is more of him. But then that's when he comes back to Tatooine to help out Boba, and like, oh yeah, that was great. And then you have that huge payoff at the end with the finale where they're fighting everything, and Boba comes in on the Rancor. And like, a lot of people I talked to really liked that, and like Mandalorian was one of the highlights of the show. 'Cause like, yeah, I mean, I think they go together really well, and I can see people who are working on the show are like, we shouldn't separate these characters. I think you can argue that, does Mando need full screen time for an entire episode? Maybe not, but at the end of the day, I think it served that story pretty well. It paid off in the end at the finale.
I mean, I kind of see a separate issue entirely where they ruined what people expected Boba Fett's personality to be is just Din Djarin, and they're like, we can't just do Din Djarin again.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
And so yeah, now there's this weird contrast, and so now people are like, we're expecting this, and then I think they probably should have had them together for more of the time, and I think people would have enjoyed that more because there would have been more of a contrast in the character. But I felt like a lot of people watched it unhappy that Boba Fett wasn't Din Djarin.
Din Djarin is
way.
Silver Boba Fett. Like, to a lot of people, he is just Silver Boba Fett. And
like,
yeah, I think you're 100% right. Like, you made your Boba Fett show. It was called The Mandalorian.
I was just kind of disappointed in Boba Fett's arc, because there was a lot of potential there for him to kind of pay off his introspection with the Sand People. I keep on telling Choco this the whole time, like, you know.
Yeah.
I liked the show.
Fully agree.
I liked the show in the beginning, and then when it came down to, you know, the Sand People being taken out, and his answer being, I'm going to be a mob boss on Tatooine, it didn't really narratively gel for me. You know, I wanted him to use that opportunity to kind of rediscover who he was, and he was on that path.
I will agree with a caveat. I think it's one of those things that, like, in the show towards the end, his goal is to remove the corruption and all of the wrongdoing that's going on in Mos Espa because of, like, the remains of the Hut Cartel and what Bib Fortuna had been doing and what the Pikes were doing. And I think he was trying to pay it forward in his own mercenary bounty hunter way. I think that could have been done better, but I think it was very much like the narrative arc of Boba Fett on Mos Espa is to remove the awful things happening in Mos Espa. And he did. Like he gets rid of the Pikes, he gets rid of the Heart Cartel, and takes control, and he does things relatively fairly. And especially when you compare it to what everyone else was doing before him. So like, I think he does. I think he probably could have taken complete control and run it as a huge mob boss, but he didn't. He changed the direction that city was going in.
No, I mean he still keeps in place the underworld connections between the different territories in Tatooine. He's still keeping in place the criminal element.
Yeah, but I mean it's like, do you either this is the catch-22 they kind of put themselves in, of Boba Fett learning a lesson. He either learns the lesson and no longer becomes Boba Fett, or he has to learn the lesson and adapt it to him being Boba Fett.
Well, I mean, the natural through line that I saw with Boba Fett and the Sand People, and with their elimination, or at least with their being kind of massacred, I thought that he was on a path to unite them. It's like, you guys can't do this tribalism thing, there are forces at work here that are very powerful, and we need to unite, and we need to take back Tatooine. How that is executed, I can't really comment on, but that was the natural trajectory that I saw Boba Fett on. But he kind of gets mad that they all died, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm taking over."
Would you have wanted him to, like, let's say magically they decide they want to do a season 2? Would you want him to do like a re-terraformation project on Tatooine to restore balance to the Tuscans?
I don't know.
Well, here's what I
don't know if it can be done.
Wanted to see, at least what I was thinking I was going to see, is that his whole tribe that he fell in with was destroyed. Mm-hmm. So yes, he could go out and find more Tuskens, but they won't necessarily have the same affinity for him, and we don't know how that divides. But that could have been done. I was thinking
he would have
that's the story. That's the story of Grizzly Man.
Well, he would have his
great ending, best ending ever.
But he would have his ghillie stick. That was
next to the mist. No, I was thinking he would apply that. He would make the bounty hunters that he grew up with, that he came up with, his tribe, and he'd say, I want our people to stop dying in these stupid conflicts with these weird rich people. You know what I mean? Like,
I can see that.
That's what the thing that he complained about. So I wanted to see him, especially when Chrysanthemum came in, I wanted to see him, yes, take over as the mob boss, but I wanted him to start bringing in a bunch of bounty hunters. I wanted him to start his own rival bounty hunters guild, where they actually kind of look out for each other in a more beneficial way. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted him to try and perfect...
socialist bounty hunter guild.
I was going to say, you want the Bounty Union Guild.
Yes. And it would fall apart, of course, because they kill people for money. But that's where I thought he would go, and that's when we saw Cad Bane come into it. I was like, Cad Bane, come to this side. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get all the you're just being paid to be used as this guy's pawn. Like, you don't need this. Do you even know who your boss is? Because I don't. None of us know who the main person in charge of this Pike Syndicate is. We don't even know what's happening. But, like,
at the same time, bounty hunters are by definition pawns as soon as they take the money.
I think, and as much as I would love Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 2, Rise of the Teamsters. I do think this is one of those things like you run into the Brian Herbert last trilogy of The Expanse problem of you have changed the core principle of what made this thing awesome so much that no one's any longer interested in this. Because when you turn that, like, the bounty hunters are this like morally gray, seedy underbelly. They're kind of badass, but you know, they're just trying to make their way in the galaxy. To, oh, they're the good guys now. They're helping everyone out. They're helping old ladies cross the street. It's like IG-88 is like, help, yes, young lady, here you go.
Okay,
don't worry, the union covers this for me.
That's taking it far. I just wanted to see them.
I understand that, but
just consider just each other. I'm just like, okay, who are you working for? This person. And then who are you being hired for? This person. And we're going to make them fight each other. And you'd be like, no. No, I'm not letting you hire two of my people to kill each other, because then I just have one person, and that's not necessary. You know what I mean? Like, just a little coordination, just a little bit.
I actually saw it a third way where, like I said, it would be a socialist bounty hunters guild, and everybody was in charge of, it would be a CBA essentially, and the contracts come in, everybody collectively negotiates the prices, and then they all work together to distribute those contracts.
I love that your brain turned it into fairy tale. that's the
but Master James Kenobi. See, I was doing the Voldemort thing and not speaking his name, but essentially, that's what would have happened, is that Boba Fett would run into Asherot Het, the canon version. And I wasn't going to be like, oh, he's going to be Darth Krayt, but we would run into Asherot Het, the Tusken. And there would be a canon story surrounding that character that could go in one of many directions.
And Plug Eye. We got to put Plug Eye in there.
So someone uniting the underworld sounds like a Talon card is needed.
Yeah, I would have made him the Talon card of bounty hunters versus Talon card being the Talon card of smugglers.
I just know that I don't dislike the show Boba Fett because that didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
I just think that the choice that they made did not make logical sense to me.
And yes, I know Plug Eye is a Yark. I said and Plug Eye, not that Asherot Het was Plug Eye. But Plug Eye is canon, by the way.
Did you mention your top 3 projects? This is like spanning now.
Yeah, top 3 projects for me have got to be, and I'm sure depending on the day or time it'll change, but I'm gonna say Last Jedi. I'm gonna say Andor. I'm gonna say Rebels.
I'm gonna say Empire, Ahsoka, and Andor.
Wow, really, Ahsoka?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this many times already. Ahsoka, from a filmmaking perspective, has a lot of problems, has a lot of flaws, dialogue, pacing, structure, but my lore brain puts it at the top.
All right.
Andor is at the top for all of the other reasons that's missing from Ahsoka.
I mean, just because the internet doesn't understand nuance, I'm going to say this. I don't hate Ahsoka. It is my least favorite of the live action shows.
It makes sense. But let's move on.
I enjoyed it, and I'm excited for season 2.
I'm excited to see where Shin is at, what Sabine is doing.
Slow down, baby.
I'm so excited. They're gonna kiss. They're so gonna kiss.
I'm also excited for Balin Skull's story. I think at the end of the day, if I were to name one thing that is like supremely hype about Ahsoka season 2, and I'm sorry to say it's not Ahsoka, but it is Balin's, because like he was hinting at so much in season 1 that has my lore brain infinitely perturbed. You know, the beginning, the balance. What does it all mean? What are the statues? What is he pointing to? What exists on this galaxy that is related to the mythology of the galaxy that they're from? You know, just the implications of them being in another galaxy is kind of profound. You know. But let's move on to our main segment, which is New York Comic Con. Now, the past week, New York Comic Con made some interesting announcements, and I'll show them on screen right now for everyone to see. We got a whole bunch of stuff. We got Legacy, which will be in between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And it'll be following Leia and Rey as they... Well, the blurb or the synopsis said, explore the mythology behind mending, which leads to the repair of the Skywalker saber. And that's something... Hey, that's an answer or a question that I had. Like, I know the answer. She used the mending techniques in the Jedi scriptures texts to learn how to mend. So that was never a question. It's like, plot hole. But like, it is something like, ooh, I want to see that happen. Like, I want to see her heal. What do you guys think about this book?
Oh my god, I'm excited. I mean,
Yeah.
I have not read anything from Madeline Rue, but at least I know with honestly, I feel like the women writers that have been added, I don't know any of them that's really missed. There's been a couple of Justina Islands that I didn't like, but I don't know, I have high hopes.
Yeah, like, I mean, I was so pleasantly thrilled by Delilah Dawson's Rise of the Red Blade. I thought that was just I phrase it like this: that book was so well written that if the grifters could actually read, they would use that book to justify all of the horrible things that the Sith did and the Inquisitors did, because it's Iskat's descent into madness. That's the whole book. And you just hear that you see the way she writes that is it's a spiral going down until the very, very end. And I think you're right. I think that having these perspectives, I mean, like, we grew up with Timothy Zahn and Michael Stackpole and James Luceno, which are very talented authors, but from a very limited perspective. And so I think having not only a woman write one of the most iconic women in fiction history, which is Leia, as well as Rey, who, whatever you want to say on the internet, you can say on the internet, but like is a beloved character. And I think that this is one of those things. This to me is the same as like a book about where did Luke get his green lightsaber, and that's the story you want to hear. And I think that this is that same story, and I'm super excited about it. I forget what you just had it up, but like there is that seemingly Lost Stars-esque Eyes Like Stars, book that I'm just like, I'm into this. And I love the border. I love the border so much, but I also hate it because I think so many people picked up Lost Stars not knowing it was a romance novel and just fell in love with it. Whereas this one is like, it's a romance novel.
Yeah, I am curious if how much that'll help or hurt. Because I mean, let's be honest, the Star. I think it might hurt it among male readers, but I feel like the women carry the book side of Star Wars. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Especially in the fanfic, and there's been a real thirst for better romance because really it's been lacking. Although I will say I am one of those people who it was like, oh, they're starting new canon books. What is this? Lost Stars? Oh, it's YA? Hell no! I put it down. I'll buy this Aftermath book instead. And then I hated it, and then I didn't go back in the canon for like 2 years. So like, I messed myself up in the same way.
My experience with Lost Stars was similar but different because I wasn't like distraught over like, oh yeah, we're like, I knew about Leland Chee's efforts with the Tears of Canon and all of that, and so I was like, when they were like, hey, we're getting rid of like this, none of this is canon, flat out not canon, we're calling it Legends. I'm like, yeah, this is smart, but I'm just like, who's writing the new books? And I picked up the Kindle version of, what was it, Heir to the Jedi, that Luke Skywalker book that came out.
Heir to the
fucking dog shit, dude. Dog shit. I know I've talked to you guys about this because I was like, I was so tired of the Luke Skywalker doing backflips over Star Wars Stormtroopers bullshit. Like, I was so tired of it. And then this wasn't quite that, but it just was boring. And I was like, all right. I was at a Barnes and Noble in Atlanta and I saw Lost Stars and I was just like, maybe this will be, anything's better than that book. Let's see where it goes. And I was like, holy crap, this is so good.
I feel like that was one of their few misfires because obviously there was internal discussions about whether that would make the canon cutoff, right?
Yeah.
They just so happened to decide it was canon. I'm like,
and they fucked up.
Listen, both Heir to the Jedi and Weapon of the Jedi were not great books. One of them was a lot worse than the other. But
I didn't read Lords of the Sith because I was at that point where I was kind of burned by that book, and I was like, nah, I don't need to read a Darth Vader book that is going to suck as bad as that one.
I also don't like Lords of the Sith, but a lot of people do. So you might. I don't know.
Lord Goob says, I was really hoping for a post-Tross Rey book, especially with the upcoming post-Tross Finn book. So I'm like, listen, New Jedi Order is coming now. Like, a lot of people will talk about the delays and how they don't have a script yet. Like, and I'm just like, every time I hear that, I was like, let them cook. They're not just gonna come announce it and be like, okay, it's releasing in 2026. Like, let them write a story, right? And I feel like these delays have something to do with these books that they're writing, right? Because books take time to write, and so when they have these books, finally the post Tross Finn book, and then this Legacy book, and with Starfighter, I think that narratives are starting to become tight enough for them to, lay down some foundation for New Jedi Order.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine, I kind of thought of it the other way around, but yeah, I imagine similar, where just like for the sequel trilogy, they're going to get people together and come up with a skeleton of how the future goes, and then after that they can let people fill in those gaps, but they didn't want to let anyone just play in that playground without any idea, let things run rampant, because we've seen what happens when that happens when they do that, and it's not great. So yeah, that's what my thought always was. They didn't fully know, but I feel like the complaints about like the Rey movie being taking too long or whatever. I feel like that scene in The Notebook where he's like, "What do you want? What do you want?" And they're like, "It's not that simple. Like, do you want them to fart out something random every year or every other year, or do you want like them to finish the script and make sure it's exactly what they want it to be first and take a little bit longer? Do you? I don't
Do you want them to plan things?
Like the MCU got itself into trouble because they had so many items in the pipeline, without being able to confirm release dates on all this stuff. So the stuff couldn't connect together as well as it was supposed to, and there were certain things that just didn't make any sense, or you know, what is it? Doctor Strange, the Madness one, came out after the third Spider-Man movie, and it was supposed to come out before. So instead of having America Chavez open up the portals that let the other Spider-Man in, they had to give Ned the ability to open up portals in order to make it that way. Like they just have to finagle all this stuff, and I think it hurts things overall. I'm cool as lemon cook.
And now we don't know what the hell Charlize Theron's role is with the incursions. Like, that is just gone. It's not happening anymore. And we're gonna have to do the same thing with seemingly with the Kangs and stuff now.
Yeah.
So that is true.
Now, I'm super excited for Tsukumo. There's
Yes.
a Star Wars Visions manga.
That is about an Order 66 survivor. So, first of all, the cover looks amazing.
That looks so dope.
It's almost like they wanted to go Mandalorian, but like they were like, nah. Let's change it up just a little bit.
Listen, when the next expansion, comes to Destiny, that's how my hunter's gonna look. Just
if you could just have one glowing red eye. You still think Destiny has a shot at revival?
It's hard to say, but I honestly think that the sandbox where the build crafting and stuff is, and what they've done for the classes and how they've accentuated and separated the class identities, I think that part of it is stronger than it's ever been. You know what I mean? I think
not
the
to
new
be a
armor,
politician,
the new
but
armor system is amazing. Now their whole leveling system was crap, and this latest expansion just wasn't good, and this portal thing that they're doing to try and simplify the experience is hurting the experience because it makes people feel disconnected from the actual game. So yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff that they're doing, but I think they are banking pretty heavily on Renegades. I think like that's their golden goose that golden goose will either make or Renegades will either make or break Destiny. But I've already paid for it, so I'm in.
So, I mean, I'm going to be a politician and say that wasn't the question. But right now, their player base is at its very lowest, lower than Curse of Osiris, which at that point their player base was so low they were on the verge of shutdown. And then I believe it was Forsaken that kind of saved them. So now they're lower than that point.
I mean, I would have to see what the numbers currently are, but they actually made... So the numbers got lower than Curse of Osiris because of the leveling system that they implemented was garbage. It was the worst thing ever, and everyone complained about it. It made the game unfun, made people not want to play things. All you could do was run the same mission over and over again solo, and that was killing the game. Absolutely.
But you can't. But you
they've
also
already-
have to include player sentiment, the health of the game in general.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about what specifically drove the player sentiment down over the course of this past bit, right? 'Cause
No,
I've
I'm not
been
talking
active-
about that player sentiment. I'm talking about player trust in the developer itself. Like, yes, there could be players that have been that have been turned off based on gameplay mechanics that you are mentioning, but there are impressionable players that have lost trust in general from all
Sure.
of the layoffs and all of the bad business decisions.
And that's true. I'm not discounting that, but what I'm talking about is what has directly, like right now, especially if you've been, following what a lot of the major creators and stuff in the space have been saying, is like, this is not fun to play right now. Everyone started taking breaks, not specifically because of the firing practices. Some people did, but a lot of them did because it just wasn't fun to play. And they've already, like, listen, our mechanics were crap. We're going to change it. This past week, they changed all of it to make everything a lot easier, to promote more diversity. And it's already been seeing a way to go back up. Now, them going to shut down, that was if they continued to lose the player base at that same rate that they were in Curse of Osiris, which I don't know that was truly possible, but again, if it came back from Curse of Osiris, I don't see it not being able to come back, especially with a massive expansion right on the horizon. So we'll see, though.
Well, I do want to point out that after Forsaken came out, they got a huge injection from Sony at that point. So Renegades could do well, but at the same time, it doesn't have the same inflection point as back then.
That's true. Also, I think Sony is they even made a comment recently of like, I mean, we might need to step in. And I think that could, again, either help or hurt the sentiment. If people are like, we don't trust their direction right now, maybe people will be like, okay, this is a shakeup. We don't know if it'll be good or bad, but I'll at least check it out when it comes.
Yeah.
I also think Destiny Rising as competition is also helpful because kind of like how Overwatch was really struggling and then Marvel Rivals came out and it struggled more, but there's a bunch of stuff that they started doing now that they kept saying, we can't do that, this is impossible, we can't do this, we can't do that, and then Rivals started doing those things and you're like, okay, yeah, we're doing those things now, and it's starting to see a resurgence as well because the competition. I don't know, we'll see.
So the following thing I'm going to say as a game designer, I need Destiny to die. And this is because they need to be able to turn the corner. Because as much as people are attached to this franchise, I'm probably coming back for Renegades because that's who I am as a gamer, but but as a game designer, it is or even just socially, it takes more energy to rebuild than it does to destroy. But if they let this die, they can turn the corner and start focusing and putting their muscles towards something else. What that is remains to be seen.
Did they give up on Marathon?
No, but Marathon's gonna be bad. I have zero interest in Marathon. I have less than no interest in it.
But my main sentiment is that I don't want them constantly fueling this fight to keep something alive.
Yeah, it's like when the dog you grew up with is like 25 years old, and you're like, just let him go.
And this isn't me saying like a Destiny 3 or even like if they let Destiny 2 die and like hit a hard reset on development, maybe even make a pitch for game in the universe. I think that would be
Give me the original game that they were gonna, because they were gonna go high fantasy. They got a high fantasy game. You know, they pivoted to space fantasy, but there's just a high fantasy game in there that would be cool as balls.
So, are you saying you want Bungie to finish the fight?
Me?
Yeah.
Win the war.
No, I don't. I want them to throw in the towel with Destiny 2.
All right. Yeah, I don't know, because like I don't like the idea of sunsetting games, if that makes sense.
If it were within a certain period of time, but it's kind of run its course. You know,
so is Quake 3, but I still play that.
Yeah, but I'm saying is its systems are going to be, I would argue already, but if you don't agree with me, its systems is going to be deprecated very, very soon. And you can't keep on pumping money into keeping something alive that will eventually be obsolete. And you don't want to keep on building on top of legacy code.
Legacy code, yeah.
You want to build something new.
The game's got 2 more years in it max. That's what I'll say. That's max.
But I don't know. Like I look at other examples, and I know that like they're not as expansive as Destiny, but like Quake Live still gets updates. Like Team Fortress 2 still gets updates. Like CS 1.6 still gets updates. Like they keep those games running. You know, they don't have the fan bases they used to, obviously, but
Valve makes their money everywhere else, though.
Yeah, but Bethesda id Software is not banking off of Quake Live. They're not, and definitely not Quake Champions at this point. No. But they still put time into it. They still like add to it. Like I don't know if you remember this. Like when GameSpy Arcade went down, and like 100 games became unusable. Like that was awful because I was like a pretty staunch like Medal of Honor Allied Assault player, and I was like, damn, I will never be able to play Medal of Honor Allied Assault online again unless I do like some virtual LAN network like Hamachi or something like that. But I was like, I don't know, like I don't necessarily want Bungie to just invest, keep Destiny 2 running forever and try to get new content out. Yeah, do a Destiny 3, do a new IP, make Marathon good, whatever it is. But like I wasn't crazy how they handled Destiny 1. I don't want to see them do that again with Destiny 2.
I'll make a satisfying and good, well, it depends on your knowledge of the IP. I'll make an example out of Final Fantasy 14. That game was so horrible.
Yeah, until
and they pulled the plug. And to Master James Kenobi's credit, who's saying endings matter and are important. Games like Destiny need endings. If you do something like 14, where it is a massive global live event where the world is destroyed and your character dies, everybody dies, and you shut down the servers and you do the hard reset and you do a Realm Reborn and you center the story around the comeback, you get a massive resurgence in the popularity of that game. And A Realm Reborn on launch was 3 times more popular than the original game when it was
I think where I see difference, because number one, Final Fantasy 14 is still a bad game. I don't care what anyone says. I have a bunch of friends that play 14, and they will all. I hate this game. I have subscribed for decades now. I guess and as someone who like played Destiny 2 a lot when it came out, Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 I think have always been good video games. And like, yes, they had issues. They had regular video game issues. I remember 14 when it launched, and it had like literally repeating sections. Like you would go through like just the same river over and over again. It was like a side scroller almost. Like they rushed that game, and it was bad. And no one missed 14's initial launch. I think the way I would compare it is like people are already upset that you can't play the original Destiny 2 anymore. Like you can't play through that campaign because people liked that campaign. People liked the content that Destiny had. And then to get rid of it all, like they already caught enough flack for getting rid of stuff that people liked.
Yeah.
I think if you do a hard reset like 14 did, like the difference is 14 was not good. Destiny is good. Like, I mean, yes, like,
well, I'm
people
not making
Yeah.
the argument that they hard reset and then re-release another Destiny 2. I'm saying they just call it quits, put their money towards something new.
Just to clarify, Final Fantasy, that's the game where like they had like a star come in that got closer and closer and closer at the end of the game. Yeah, okay.
That was a spectacular ending. Like that was a spectacular shutdown.
But I think it's different because like clearly Square had plans to reboot the game, and they weren't going to just get rid of all their subscribers and get rid of all the money they invested into like the assets and stuff like that. They were going to work with it. They're going to add more to the development, and they did. And you look at it now, like everything Heavensward and On has been really good. The Monster Hunter collab, not so much, but it's one of those things. Like I think you can have an instance of saying like, "Hey guys, we at Bungie want to focus on Marathon. We have this new project as well. We're working on 2 projects at the same time, 3 projects, whatever it is. We will stop updating Destiny 2 on this date. You will still be able to play Destiny 2 with your friends, but we will not do any future content."
Allow me to be brazen, actually. I think they should just give up on Marathon too.
Sure, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
If
so
the
I think
game's not
they
working-
pull the plug on Marathon, and they plan a live global apocalypse of Destiny 2. And whatever they come out of at the other end is in that universe, but it's in the future. No new characters.
What if they just do a WoW classic and just give you back the Destiny 2 campaign?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like it doesn't matter what comes out of the other side of this shutdown, so long as the ending of Destiny 2 signaled a cataclysm that like, okay, that was the end of that universe, and like from the spark that was left behind from the all
Sure,
spark.
for whatever you want to do from the narrative, you could send Teletubbies down for all I care, but like, don't. I think that now more than ever, shutting down games is less and less popular with people, and I think that there are companies that have shown very regularly that it does not that it's not expensive, but it's not as impossible to keep games running as people say it is, or as companies like to say it is.
I mean, I know it's not the same type. It's not like a live service game, but you know, look at CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077. Like, they brought that game back to life in a couple different ways, and ended up years out had a higher player base than when it launched.
Yeah,
I know. I do see possibilities. They already ended the Light and Darkness campaign, the saga, and so what they have in front of them is brand new and wide open. They said, "Hey, we're gonna try this, but yeah, if it doesn't work, then I'm sure it'll go." I do think though that they're. I mean, hopefully the rumors of them actually working on a Destiny 3 are true. And I say that because if they could do something where, bam, we no longer need to support old consoles. We no longer need to support, this stuff, and it could be. I mean, I'd love it if they did an ending like what you were describing. A new threat comes in, it becomes impossible. Maybe we have to play through waves of enemies, and they get harder and harder, and you just like can't beat it. And then we get the launch of like Destiny 3, and it is like a lone ghost on a planet like finding you, and this is like years in the future, and maybe you end up having to go back and discover this old stuff. Maybe you dig up an old vault, you can find some of the old exotics and stuff. I think that'd be
find your old Gallarhorn. And I say all of this as a Destiny fan. Like I'm not like being like, oh yeah, Choco knows how much of a fan I am. I only play the game
because of you.
This is me wanting them to close the chapter. And I really thought that the ending with the witness was actually a really good ending. Yeah. But of course they had to keep on going somehow. No. And so that's why I imagine this large, sweeping, epic kind of destruction of the universe, like Choco said, where it just kind of ends things.
That being said, I don't want an ending like the way Anthem ended Star Wars Battlefront 2. Because Star Wars Battlefront 2 started falling apart because they pulled all these resources off of the game in order to create Anthem. Because they wanted to make their own IP because they don't have to pay anything for it, you know what I mean?
I like that.
And that splintering, I think, hastened the end. And what's funny is there's still people who like bring it back. They would still play it, but whatever.
Yeah, Anthem was a decent game.
Anthem.
It wasn't great. It could have been great. Any game can be great, but
had a lot of potential.
Yeah. It was the vibes were there. It was cool. Like it looked good. It felt good to play. It's just there was nothing to do.
And they didn't. And its systems fell short of their target, which was Destiny. Master James Kenobi says, like Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere eras. Start at new Destiny era set 1,000 years in the future and see how the previous era informs the new one. I like new Destiny because then you can call all of the legacy ones old Destiny, like the old Republic. What would you call it? The old age.
The Dark Age. Listen, I just want my lightsaber, okay? We're going to get a lightsaber. We're going to be able to have force abilities in the game. There's
I would argue we already do.
Mechanic. Well, yes, but like a legit one.
Like Strand is already a thread. Wink, wink.
I see what you're doing, and I hate it.
What the hell did you just say?
But back to New York Comic Con.
Yeah, we may have digressed a little bit. There is a comic that's coming out that is an adventure of Keller and Beck and Jar Jar Binks, and
that's cool.
Can't wait.
That's cool.
That is not the High Republic Pathfinders one, but yes, that is coming out. I have a select few images on this collage. But we're also getting the art of Andor. We're also getting the art of the Acolyte. And they surprisingly chose to concentrate on showing us glimpses of the Stranger and some dark side stuff as just a teaser, which brings
he's getting his own show.
He's getting his own show. They listen. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Like Manny is still on the press circuit. Like he's. Yeah. It's like when Obi-Wan was getting, or when Ewan was getting Obi-Wan, but he was doing press, and all he could do was like, I've spoken to Lucasfilm, They haven't said anything to me. It's like, why are you doing interviews?
John Boyega has been doing the same thing. I saw him at Emerald City Comic Con. I know he was at other stuff, and he said essentially the same thing in his own words, like, "Oh, I would love that call from Lucasfilm, just haven't gotten it yet."
Yeah, and let's be honest, Ewan McGregor admitted that he had already been it was 5 years. It was 5 years that he had been lying about it, having already signed on.
Which gives us hope, right? Because if Manny is doing interviews and appearances and still kind of making his way through the circuit, and he's just like, I would love a season 2. I would love to continue Chimere's story and The Stranger. And then we're getting these books, we're getting the art, and they're trying to keep at least a semblance of the Acolyte in conversation. Even in addition
they're releasing
to us.
more High Republic stuff. They're releasing Acolyte books. They're keeping Manny in the press. It's like one of those things. If it's just they're not keeping. You're not seeing Gina Carano in these press stories. There's not a Cara Dune show coming. There's not. They are. I think that Lucasfilm could bring out anyone in the world that they wanted to at any time, and I think they're very specific with who they bring out at any of these expos or conventions. I think they do it. Hey, it's the something anniversary of the something movie. Sure, bring them out. Whatever. Doesn't mean we're going to bring them back. They are. I don't think that. I think that if it were true that John Boyega didn't want to be in Star Wars and wasn't planning on coming back in Star Wars, he would be upfront about it. He would not be going to these conventions and saying, "Oh, it would be nice." He would just be like, "No, I'm not doing it." Yeah.
He wouldn't be wasting his time. He would be working on other projects. Yep. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. Plus, Manny is. They've also still been loving him within the Disney family. I haven't seen Freakier Friday. I've heard good things, but
I have.
a major
if you
character.
want to watch it at some point. I just sailed the high seas for some curiosity. Yeah, no. But it's interesting that you say that they're still continuing the High Republic even though Project Luminous is over. With the Pathfinder comics, because yes, The Stranger is still in High Republic timeline, and it's they would. I have always tried to keep a level head about this. They're not going to continue something if it's not doing well. They're just not. The High Republic, could it have done better than they anticipated? Sure. I think there's probably meetings about it. Oh yeah, we should have done this differently. We should not really. They wouldn't be going to New York Comic Con 2025, the year that the High Republic was supposed to end, and then announce 2 new comics for the High Republic. The High Republic is doing well enough that they're willing to continue those stories. The Acolyte, if the Acolyte was so bad and didn't do anything for them, why did they even release a visual guide? Why are they releasing Art of the Acolyte? Why are they teasing us with pictures of Chimera? Why are they bringing Manny Jacinto in? They don't have to do anything.
Why was it still one of the most popular things on Disney Plus?
Yeah. They don't have to do anything, especially if it's not making them money, or they think it won't make them money. They don't have to.
I feel like at some point we're gonna approach the time of Starfighter's release, and Jimmy Fallon's gonna be like, and joining us tonight is Ryan Gosling, and then Gosling's out there, he's doing his interview, and then he's like, oh my gosh, it's Manny, what are you doing here, Manny? And I was like, come on, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I could see stuff like that, but I think it's just one of those things just like 20th Century Fox was doing, and when Lucasfilm was operating with them, is it's a business. At the end of the day, it has always been a business. It's never been George Lucas doing this out of the good of his heart. He was trying to make money doing this. And I think that if you don't dig your head into TikTok, you will realize that like what we talked about earlier, the prequel stuff isn't as popular as what you may see on TikTok. And I think that Disney has realized the prequel stuff may have run its course at this point, where you can't just keep using Ewan and Hayden over and over again. You can't just release another season of the Clone Wars and then another spin-off of the Clone Wars and then another prequel era thing. They're not focusing on the prequels as much anymore. I mean, I think it was 2023 where there was like 4 prequel era books coming out at the same time, and like 2023 there were like 3 before that. They've moved on. I don't want to say completely. They have very much moved on from the prequel era.
I also think there's some sense of like deception happening with online, because I feel like if you take everything that you see online at face value, you see the grifters, the chuds, and the carpet nuggets get hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of views on their videos. The only thing you have to know about that is that they're all the same million for every channel. Like it's not like multiple millions of people. It's like the same million people that are like,
yeah.
And some of them, it's not even like unique viewers. You know.
Sometimes, but I think it's also, I've never looked at it even like that. It's like, okay, let's say one of these grifters gets 2 million views on a video. How many tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people watch Star Wars?
Yeah.
It's a fraction of the fan base that is watching these videos.
Exactly. And there's like 300 million in the US alone.
Yeah.
And then, close to 8 billion in the world?
We've gone to Star Wars Celebration, right? There are way more people physically at Celebration who spent time and money getting there than there are accounts that you see online hating on stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not real.
They can't even do it properly with Rotten Tomatoes, because like the sequels are still sitting pretty high on the user rating.
Oh, dude, I love when people, anytime anyone is trying to bring up like Rotten Tomatoes scores, like with the Acolyte or whatever, and I was like, oh, so you follow Rotten Tomatoes and you think that's pretty accurate? Like, it's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, so Rise of Skywalker is a much better film than Revenge of the Sith, right? Based on Rotten Tomatoes scores, it's considerably higher on their tier than Revenge of the Sith is.
Well, we
So
can't
Rise of
use
Skywalker-
Revenge of the Sith because that's purposely sitting at 66.
But that's also part of the argument as well. Is the numbers are
It's not accurate.
intentionally. Yeah.
But we could use the critical score.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people also don't understand what Rotten Tomatoes actually means.
that is true.
It's not like they see like, oh, it has a 76%. Oh, it's a 7 out of 10. It says no. It's 76% of the views were favorable. So if it's sitting at 51% of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, that may get a rotten score, but it still means more than half of the reviews were positive.
Also, the way that aggregates some critical reviews, with publications that don't use a numbering or lettering system, they just kind of guess the overall feeling.
Yeah.
And it's like if you look into the reviews, like the critical reviews, it will be like a no-name website with like 10 annual viewers, and it's just a guy with a blog, and that can get put into the critical review because it's like an actual written review, not just I wrote into Rotten Tomatoes, which is the audience score.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Rotten Tomatoes is useful, to kind of see where the kind of zeitgeist around a movie is, and I think that can be helpful in a number of ways. But it's just like, is this movie good over that movie? That's not what that's for.
As soon as I started to become weaponized, it was no longer useful.
Yeah, as soon as you could review bomb it, it was just like, yeah, it's no longer a. Yeah.
Separately, we actually got some. We mentioned some art of and reference books. the one from The Mandalorian, and they actually show an image. I don't know if you have all the separate images, but they showed a picture of a crate dragon, and I just thought it was kind of disappointing. I'm like, nope, it's got bandages and stuff. It's very
New York Comic Con release, but you could just go to StarWars.com to look at all of the other stuff. They have like a coloring book with Grogu, The Art of Color with Grogu. They have a book. They have a Boba Fett comic that's coming out as well.
Boba Fett, red, white, and black. Yep.
Yeah. I just took the major points and put them on an artboard.
Now, man, it kind of sucks that I haven't been making a whole lot of content, so I doubt I'll get reached out to by Hasbro. But there was a bunch of new collection stuff that was being announced. If you saw, there's a Black Series Darth Vader that is like his mask is half destroyed from his fight with Obi-Wan. You got a Padme one. There's the Shock T one though is the one I want. It's a vintage collection Shock T.
Gage FD says Black Series been on fire lately. I'd like to know if they already released the Stranger's helmet, right?
Yeah, the helmet, like the Black Series helmet, like the one you can wear.
Yeah,
that's out.
It just is always out of, like it's always like back ordered now.
Weird. I thought no one liked the Acolyte.
I saw something strange on X because I don't really traverse those grounds very often. I saw someone calling for the release of a Black Series OSHA and May braid head.
All right.
Sorry. That was just not a good time for me to take a drink.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever coming out. But I mean, I've seen some cosplays of them, and people do a really great job of it. You know. Would you call that would you call them braids or beads? Because isn't it like beadwork?
I mean, I'd call them braids.
Yeah, it's a braided hairstyle.
Gage says Kyle Katarn announced recently as well. So that was, I don't want to spoil it for Chase, but I'm gonna have to. That was Kyle Katarn in Rebuild the Galaxy.
Ah.
But they didn't really call to action to anything. He was just standing there, and me and Choco were reacting. He was like, "Is that Kyle Katarn?" He's just standing there. There's a lot of people in like one of the scenes that they're just all standing around, like, and we're just like pointing them out. It's like, what the hell are they doing here?
That's cool. I like stuff like that.
General Padana.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, Star Wars is alive and well, as evidenced by New York Comic Con. Getting lots of really great books. I now have a personal pull list in Lord Goob. So shout out to Lord Goob, who's just going to constantly DM me for anything new that's coming out, because I'm telling you, I'm behind on everything. And every time we do a dyad every Friday, I learn about a new comic because of Goob. So thank you, Goob. But other than that, you know, we've got a couple minutes here to take advantage of a bonus segment. If there's anything anybody wants to talk about with us, feel free to leave it in the chat, or if any of you guys have something you want to say. I did recently finish Peacemaker. I don't know how to feel about that finale.
I guess I'm still 2 behind, so I'll get there very soon. But
we've been saying that for a couple of days.
I imagine I was planning to get through this weekend, like when I from work.
Let's see here. I didn't love the New York Comic Con book panel, but I'm glad they announced at least a High Republic thing. I will say the newest author seemed really excited for his Finn Janna book. Oh, so are we getting the First Order Trooper Mutiny book?
Oh, I mean that was announced last year. Like it's coming out. Its release date is like next month.
But that's the post.
Did the
that's
author
post-Dross,
speak?
right?
Did the author speak at New York Comic Con this year about it, or?
I'm assuming that's what they mean by that.
Yeah. I will say this. We were talking about this with the Eyes Like Stars. There is an author I would love to see come into Star Wars because I recently read a book by them that was really good. I would love to see Ali Hazelwood write a Star Wars book.
What is she write?
The Love Hypothesis.
Oh, I mean, makes sense.
I think seeing her write a Star Wars book, like an official Star Wars book, would be really good. Because Love Hypothesis was a really good book. Like it was like genuinely, I was surprised how good it was.
I'm gonna say something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to.
By the way, October 21st is when the book comes out.
This year?
Yeah.
4 days.
I still have to finish Trials. I have to finish a lot of things. And I blame just partially, like in the decibel point area, Choco for putting me onto a new book series in the middle of my finishing Trials. But I was going to say something, and I want to bet that no one here is going to understand why I'm saying it. But I would love a Star Wars book from George R.R. Martin.
So you just want a book that'll never get written?
Well, Chase got it. I say that because we would never get it, and it would never happen. They would announce it, and then 10 years later, he's like, "Get off my back, guys."
So the two guys who comprise James S.A. Corey, they finished The Expanse 2019, 2020, something like that, with the last book, and they've started a new series. I have the book, I just haven't started it yet. They wrote one of the last EU books. There was a Han Solo book. And I would love to see that. I haven't read that book, but just based on how talented those two are, I would love to see them come back to Star Wars.
Was it
I'll look it
Labyrinth
up.
of the Heir to the Sword?
No, I know the book. I can see it in my mind.
Honor Among Thieves is what it's called. I haven't read it. It was like a 2014, late 2013, 2014 release.
It was a cutoff. It was one of those cutoff.
It was one of the
books?
cutoff books. Yeah.
Here's my hot take. In the expanded universe, the Sith kind of started off as a branch off of like Fallen Jedi, right?
Yeah.
I want it to be the reverse.
The Sith
in canon. I would like it if we could tell, like, and you kind of brought this to my mind when you mentioned George R.R. Martin. Not necessarily him specifically, but his style. I would love it if we get a book about like the actual Sith homeworld, and these were some of the first, Force sensitives around, and they had all these battling kingdoms and all this stuff, and it's just like tyranny after tyranny, and like there's like 5 or 6 separate fascist regimes trying to run everything, and have like the light spring from the darkness, where someone's like, "This is terrible. I hate this. Do you not hate this?" You know what I mean? I kind of want to see that.
Interesting. So would it be an alternate universe, or just one of those stories where a Sith was like, "I think the Jedi looks really good at this point."
Yeah, I'm thinking like I would love it if the Jedi came from that. Like maybe at the end someone leaves, or a parent somewhere is like, all these people are just giving in to all this hate. I've been doing it myself, but I want this my kid to like not die like all these. We need to get out of here. We need to find something better. And then that's when they start to figure out, you know, hey, maybe we just don't give in to all of our urges every second of every day, and we like think about stuff first. Maybe we should doing that. I don't know.
I mean, you could technically do like an augmented Dawn of the Jedi story there. I mean, because order
needs to spring from chaos and not the other way around.
Yeah, so like the first schism, obviously, they were already Jedi, but like the people that started to follow the dark side were the ones that kind of splintered off, and then the survivors of that schism created the Jedi. So you could kind of like retrofit that story to be where the Call of Thoyor is a catalyst that brings together the Sith. And then I just agree with you. I think that we need a story where the Sith just looks like a terrible choice.
Yeah, for the fan base, I want them to see like this doesn't work, because if everyone does this, nothing works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I also,
for one thing, but also it becomes an interesting story because there's not this moral ambiguity of who's going to win and who's going to lose. You know what I mean? It's like these are all bad guys and they're all fighting each other. You know?
Yeah. In addition, I also wanted to, like, with the way you would bring about things, in addition to kind of clearing up that ambiguity, is to just provide a clear example of what the other choice is. Because oftentimes without that story, the Sith are often romanticized to be like, oh, they just want freedom to feel things. I'm like, I know you didn't read the Old Republic, and that stuff's not canon, but like, if you listen to all of like how George Lucas describes the dark side and the Sith, it's like, it's not just being like, I want to feel things. Like, no, it's literally the active desire to be evil, like to conquer, to dominate, to follow your basest and most primal emotions, and then of course being controlled by them. Because you know, despite what people may think, the Jedi are all allowed to feel things, but you just can't let it control you.
I mean, imagine if there was more than one Anakin. That's basically it. Like, Anakin can only function because everyone else has to be the adult. You know what I mean?
I'd love that what if. It's like, I've brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire. And then the other Anakin's like, your new empire? My empire? What the hell are you talking about? I've brought peace, freedom, and justice. What are you? And then they start fighting and stuff. It's like, this is my empire. You're not with me, then you're my enemy. Starts choking Padme. Hey, stop choking my wife! And then he starts choking Padme. You know, because it's like, both of them are all acting out of love for Padme. And then they both choke her. And he's like, stop, let her go. Like, no, you can't have her from me. You can't take her from me. I see through the lies of the Anakins. Can you imagine a faction called the Anakins? Oh, man. See, Gage asked, you haven't finished Trials? No, I was in the middle of the book, and then I got sucked into Unsold, or the Cradle series, and I read 4 books, and then I got burned out, and then I started watching One Piece. So I was like, oh, yeah, oh, Unsold, oh, yeah, for 4 books in. I'm going to watch 1,000 episodes of an anime now. So I kind of just, I fell into it. I haven't caught up on Trials or the end of the High Republic or the comics. And this is truly the first time. Because if you followed me since 2019, I was on the High Republic from day one. And I finished every book day one.
It was upsetting that we would finish the book within the first 1 or 2 days, and we just couldn't talk to anyone because they were all normal humans.
And now we can't even host any conversations because we haven't read the books yet.
You screwed up, man.
We did host a Mask of Fear, but even then, like, you know, some people haven't read that stuff. It's difficult to kind of wrangle.
Books are hard. Books are really hard.
Yeah, it's difficult to wrangle discussion around canon and then discussion around extended canon. Because, you know, and this is a point we've made throughout this entire episode, is like there's like millions and millions of people out there that just they watch Star Wars when it pops up into the, you know, zeitgeist, and then they stop thinking about it. What's that face for, Choco?
It's me trying to think of something. You ever have it where you're like, this makes me think something, but I don't know what I'm thinking. I need to find what I'm thinking so I can think it. Or is that just the tism? I don't know.
Yeah. That was profound. What tism are you thinking about? Gigantism?
It don't matter. It don't matter.
Oh man. High Republic definitely needs more attention. It's the best planned and organized thing they've done in new canon. Yeah. We were on top of it. You know, and every con that we went to, Celebration, those panels were full. They were jam-packed. But, you know, other things happen. We fall behind.
Can't be on top forever, man.
Nope. But what we can do is subscribe and like this stream so that you can help us in our fight to bring back normal fan behavior.
And download Raid Shadow Legends.
And Ground News.
And NordVPN. I'm actually
I need a new VPN, actually.
I use Nord. I've
tomorrow?
used Nord since before YouTube took a hold of it.
Tomorrow I'm getting and I might make a video on it. Tomorrow I'm getting my updated prescription for glasses, and I found a site called Pair, and they have really great frames, but their frames are also magnetically set up to take what they call top frames. And I found they have Star Wars top frames, so you can get glasses, but you can get
Don't do this.
you can get tops.
Don't wear Star Wars glasses. You're not 5. Don't do this.
No, I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna make a video on it. I found a top frame that is like Beskar patterned, and it has like that symbol from Mandalorian. Although that's making me second guess wanting to have the Empire logo on my glasses during these times. So they have a lot more other top frames, but I thought that was cool to find that, because I was looking at like different Star Wars glasses, and there are some companies that do like Star Wars frames. Like, you know how it's like very interpretive, like they'll have a Boba Fett glasses, and it just looks like someone was like, I think Boba Fett would like this design. And you're just like, no, not really. But
I don't like any of these.
Come on, man.
I don't like any of these.
What was it called? Frames?
Pair. Pair.
Pair. So it'd be pair eyewear.
Yep. No, I'm there.
And if
I
you
mean,
go
I
to,
just
if you go to top frames,
I
and
might
go
have to find something for the missus. I don't wear glasses.
If you go to top frames and go to Star Wars, you tell me you don't like any of this? Because you have to find the frame first of all. They have different frames. These are all just like the top that you can put on it.
I don't know. Like, glasses to me are best when they're understated, if that makes sense.
I agree.
I don't think this is an overstatement.
Oh, I think it super is.
It depends on what you choose. I think the lightsabers is understated. The Beskar steel is understated.
That one's got like 2 giant Imperial logos on it.
The point
It's
being,
not for me. It's not for me.
the point being, these are. Where the hell did those glasses come from? I just came back and Choco's wearing glasses.
No, but speaking of which, I think these would be, but it really just depends on where you are wearing them and why. Like, if I was a teacher, these would go hard. You know what I mean? You know.
If you wore these to a job interview, I would not hire you.
No, but I think so. So the point I was trying to make is that these are magnetical.
Yeah, you just
These are
pop them off
magnetic
and
top
pop them back on.
frames. Yeah,
You can
so,
switch them
like,
for whatever.
I can have like any number of them and just switch it out. Like it's a really cool idea to have a certain style of glasses that works for you. And in this case, like I like the Finley for my face shape. And it kind of just resembles the glasses that I already wear. And then I just be able to pop on different ones depending on how I feel at the during the day. But not sponsored by Pair Eyewear. I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I might make a video and then we'll see if they see it. Honestly, they might send me a whole bunch of Star Wars top frames. You know? I know I wouldn't wear Grogu cuteness.
I will say there are 2 prequel themed frames, which kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. The prequels are not super well liked the way I think people think they are.
There are 2 prequel
And you know
frames.
what's interesting is
There's an Ahsoka and a Darth Maul.
Even George Lucas has moved beyond Star Wars. If you saw recently, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal, an interview with George, and he was talking about the museum that he wants to open up, and he would be begrudgingly, because it's a museum of narrative art, and he would be begrudgingly including like one exhibit on like Star Wars vehicles.
I'm sorry. I'm eternally distracted by the fact that you're now wearing glasses. Like, do you need them? Like you said you didn't?
These help protect my eyes from blue light.
Are those gunners?
You had the best opportunity just to be like, I'm not wearing glasses.
He doesn't have the Jedi mind trick, though.
What are you
Yeah.
talking
To be
about?
able to convince me.
No, I don't need to wear glasses, but I got these because it was like a screaming deal. Oh, no, because I have, through my insurance, you know, I mean, like, they gave me eye insurance, and so they give me an allowance, an annual allowance to, like, buy glasses, but I have perfect vision, so I had got a pair of aviators and these.
Okay.
So did your KDR go up?
Oh my god, like, I can't even control the mouse, I see so well. I'm just like,
Yeah, these are currently Pixel eyewears. Or Pixel glasses. They also do the blue lights and stuff.
These are Armani.
Oh, you got the Armani.
I hate these glasses.
for a while, my I never owned anything Armani, but my smell was Armani Code. That was my scent.
These glasses, and
Those are two different things. But yeah.
I once owned an Armani belt, and those are the only two Armani products I ever had.
Very nice.
But now, I'm always repping Choco Musk.
Is that your smell or is that your scent?
Both.
That's what I thought. When you said
Both of 'em.
my smell is Armani Code, I was like, huh? Anyways, I think that'll wrap it up for today's episode of DYAD in the Force. Because we have nothing else to talk about. At this point, we're talking about glasses. Anything else, guys?
I got nothing.
Our maiden voyage on TikTok via OBS. I think it has been a solid success, other than the fact that my audio and video were desynced at the beginning.
As well as the fact that I wasn't here at the beginning. I thought that was a negative, but apparently you didn't.
Were you able to get my virtual camera?
I haven't. I mean, I got the message, but I didn't put it in because I was having so many issues, and I'm just restarting my machine.
Gotcha. See, there was technical difficulties, Chase.
I never questioned that there were. You told me there weren't.
Screw you. King Vince says, did you guys read the new Legacy of Vader issue?
Not yet. I heard of some amazing things from Comics and Cupcakes. If you don't follow Ambrosia, you should. She is a delightful human, but not yet.
Not yet. But we are at the end of this episode. I think I'm going to make a conscious effort to finish Trials of the Jedi by next week. And if time allows, I will catch up on Legacy of Vader as well.
Okay.
Is there any other comics that I need to catch up on?
Let's see. I mean, all of them. You were like, hey, Choco, finish the Vader comic line so we can talk about it this week. And then you're like, I didn't do it.
No, we did. You're the one that didn't finish.
What? I finished.
I finished. The 1 week I said we were going to do it, you said I haven't gotten to it. And so I canceled that topic. But I already finished.
That's not what happened.
Stop gaslighting me.
No, I mean I'm finished with it, but yeah,
I need to finish. I still need to finish Star Wars 2020.
Maybe that's what it was. Oh yeah, because we did Vader 1 week and we were going to do Star Wars the next week, and then we didn't, and then we just never revisited it. Let's do the Jakku one.
Jaws of Jakku? No, that's the Audible exclusive, which I also want to read. But what is it called? The Rise of
No, there's one about, like, it's just like post Battle of Jakku. It's like right after everything. I'll get you the name of it once we wrap. We can look at those. There should be like a mini series, so shouldn't be too much.
Anyways, Choco. Goop says,
Larry David produced this show.
Lord Goop says, Jaws of Jakku was great. Felt kind of skeleton crewy. I don't like the word crewy.
I like that. So, Chase, what did we learn today?
We learned that Pep hates gamers and he wants all games to die. And we learned that there's new stuff. There's new stuff on the horizon, and it's okay when people get upset on the internet over ridiculous things because they're always going to be wrong, and we'll just keep enjoying stuff the way that we should enjoy them.
Beautifully stated. The internet's not real life.
Nope.
Although we are all friends in real life.
Well, since you asked, now you need to quote.
Yep. And as Anakin always says, liar!
See you guys next time.